This has proven to be a rather challenging essay to compose due to the vast and detailed subject matter. Though far-reaching, the subjects covered are all related. For clarity and to better grasp the understanding of this thesis, you should liken the following far-reaching content, connections, and associations to an enormous spider web spread far and wide, but where all of the individual strands of these elongated webs ultimately lead to the middle and the center of Illuminism. Secrets of the Ages is the result of 6 years of extensive research into the esoteric and exoteric. The information contained herein is all sourced, documented, and verifiable. Though sweeping in scope, there are clear and concise connections, coincidences, and some immutable facts presented. It is for you to come to your own conclusions, but before you do, put aside your preconceived notions of history and belief systems and take a serious, objective look at the material presented. We have traversed a great deal of territory, covering a vast spectrum of the spiderweb of evil in a very short period of time. If given the proper scope and in-depth detail required on each aspect, the analysis would no doubt fill 1,000 pages. And although it is spread out, wide, twisted, and intertwined, the web all meets in the middle. The adepts of the many secret societies possess and protect the secret knowledge of the ages, and they are using that knowledge, power, and influence to create a new world order. This is not a good thing, for as hopefully you all realize that for the most part, what is proposed and implemented by government has a different result. And in most cases, the different result is the exact opposite of what was intended. Think about that for a moment. These elitists intend to control the entire world and everyone in it, and they are well on their way. Are you aware that there are 147 companies that own controlling interests in the more than 44,000 major public, national, and multinational corporations in the world? Did you know that most of these owners are international banks, central banks? Did you know that 6 of the 147 corporations control all the media we see? And now Comcast wants to further collectivize what we see and the music we listen to, and are in the process of acquiring Time Warner. All the 147 companies mentioned are owned and controlled by the elect of the many secret societies. These owners are the elite at the top of the pyramid, the 13 ruling class families and 4 associated family bloodlines. They protect the mysteries, the secret knowledge of the ages. They are the unseen rulers of the world. Some of these family names may be familiar to you. The Astor bloodline, the Bundy bloodline, the Collins bloodline, the DuPont bloodline, the Freeman bloodline, the Kennedy bloodline, the Lee, L.I. bloodline, the Onassis bloodline, the Reynolds bloodline, the Rockefeller bloodline, the Rothschilds bloodline, the Russell bloodline, the Van Duyn bloodline, and the Merovingian bloodline, which is the European royal families. The interconnected families are the Disney bloodline, the Krupp bloodline, and the McDonald bloodline. Remember, my friends, the elite adepts of the mysteries believe that we, the ignorant masses of humanity, who they refer to as the profane, are too immature to calmly and rationally find solutions when confronted with huge problems like the New World Order, and we will be overwhelmed. Are we to prove them right? Or can we prove them wrong? Did you know that one of their major goals is to reduce the world population and keep it maintained at 500 million? Barring a natural disaster, nuclear, chemical, or bioweapon attack, ask yourself, how is that possible? There are over 7 billion people in the world. How can it be done? It is being done. through war, famine, disease, abortion, euthanasia, pharmaceutical drugs that cause side effects like cancer, diabetes, stroke, heart attack, and other diseases that create a vicious cycle of doctors prescribing more deadly drugs, requiring even more deadly drugs to treat but never heal the conditions, and cause new reactions. Pharmaceuticals that, when properly prescribed and ingested, kill over 770,000 Americans each year. The fact is, most Americans are unaware of this because the true pharmaceutical and medical statistics are suppressed. After all, Big Pharma is television's cash cow. The #1 advertiser with billions in revenue that must be protected. This protection also provides a reasonable cover for the elite's genocidal eugenics agenda. Since the average citizen trusts their doctor, they obey their doctor, who have all been taught the allopathic method of medicine, which is surgery and pharmaceuticals, since their very first day in medical school. It's all they know. The Rockefeller Foundation can be given high marks for their generous donations to hospitals and medical schools, while they created the big pharma and cancer industries, industries who were in league with the so-called regulatory agencies like the FDA and the CDC. These doctors and scientists move back and forth from the regulatory agencies to the big pharma companies in a revolving door system. Experts who maintain that deadly pharmaceutical concoctions are safe and effective treatments, while alternative treatments that actually work are maligned and deemed quackery. Add to that the fact that many doctors take advantage of big pharma perks. Many are wined and dined by the generous legal drug cartels. They are given tickets to the theater and sporting events, vacations, and outright cash payments to write articles in papers promoting these deadly potions as safe and effective treatments. Remember, there are no cures. Cures kill customers. This is the medical mafia, the Brotherhood of the Snake, whose symbol is, you guessed it, a snake wrapped around a staff, which is the universal symbol of medical practice. The truth is, medical treatment is by far the #1 killer in the United States, resulting in a total of over 1 million fatalities nationwide every year. We all see the relentless string of new and improved pharmaceutical drugs. The majority of these new potions have cancer, diabetes, heart failure as common side effects. Yet Americans continue to ask their doctor if cancer, diabetes, and heart failure is right for them. And now, the Socialist Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare, will have Americans pay through the nose for their own demise via deadly pharmaceuticals and death panels. Welcome to the New World Order. Throughout history, physicians have played a role serving as the elect, originally the high priest or shaman. For the most part, physicians have been placed on a pedestal for their great knowledge and skill. They are healers, tasked with treating the sick. They are supposed to heal, not harm. But today's physicians do harm. Today they even kill, performing abortions and euthanasia more and more every day. The trend is growing across the world. So are physicians really keeping their Hippocratic oath, or are they just hypocrites? Not surprisingly, physicians almost always tell their patients that taking these poisonous drugs are indeed safe. Do you still wonder why 750,000 Americans die from properly prescribed, properly ingested pharmaceuticals, and another 250,000 die from medical mistakes and malpractice? Of course, like the secret societies themselves, this deadly secret is one the elect must keep from the public. If you do some research, you'll find that this statistic is true. Google medical treatment #1 killer in the U.S. Let's talk about Obamacare, aka the Affordable Care Act, which simply proves my earlier point of government proposing something that, when implemented, the result is not as promised. And that's being kind. Like the Federal Reserve Act implemented in 1913, to stabilize markets and prevent recessions and bank runs like the Panic of 1907 from ever happening again, Obamacare is yet another fraud swallowed hook, line, and sinker by the American people. We have been conditioned to believe the lies. That false belief that the next puppet will really do good for the people for once. But it never happens. This is the New World Order. This is the agenda. Steal the wealth from the American middle class and create a neo-feudal two-class system. The reason the plan is working is due to willful ignorance or indifference to the many deceptions. Believing the lie is easier and less painful than having to face and accept the truth. I believe Einstein was right when he said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Clearly, the American people are insane. If this all isn't bad enough, there are many other poisons working to reduce the world population. Bioweapons, radiologicals, sterilants in the water and food, cancer-causing and sterilizing genetically modified food, cancer-causing fluoride, aluminum, barium, and strontium blasted into our atmosphere via chemtrail, geoengineering. I can go on and on. The poisons are plentiful. We are being exterminated. In fact, it is written in stone, the Georgia Guidestones, an order of reason for a new age. It is a message consisting of 10 guidelines engraved in 8 different languages, one language on each face of the 4 large upright stones. On the summer solstice, the sun perfectly passes through a hole in the center of the guidestones. The hole is only an inch in diameter. Moving clockwise across the facade, written in English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian are the commandments of the New World Order. Maintain humanity under 500 million, in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in the world. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. The Club of Rome was founded in April 1968 by Fiat auto magnate Aurelio Pisset and Scottish scientist Alexander King, formed when a small international group of people from fields of academia, high society, diplomacy, and industry met at a villa in Rome, Italy, to debut a report, Limits to Growth. Like the global warming fraud, Limits to Growth was a propaganda piece spurred on by the artificial scarcity of oil and that natural resources are finite and humanity faces an apocalyptic future requiring swift and costly action to reduce consumption and go green. The 1973 oil crisis was simply a Hegelian ploy to raise oil prices and create conflict and despair, requiring swift action. Of course, the ploy worked. Thanks to a massive public relations campaign, as a result, Limits to Growth helped to create the EPA and the environmental movement, which, like the FDA and other alphabet soup, are being used to keep energy and the price of resources artificially high, requiring green efforts, costly mandates and regulations, which are really well-disguised ploys to incrementally bankrupt America into neo-feudal serfdom. Spurred on by the artificial scarcity promoted in Limits to Growth, which predicted that economic growth could not continue indefinitely because of the limited natural resources, particularly oil, the economic conditions in America today are the result of these and other policies of the past. Ross Perot was right. There was a huge sucking sound, and it still sucks. Much of America's problems were forged in the past. NAFTA, GATT, and the many government incentives to outsource labor and industry has taken its toll. Clearly, this is not a theory, but it is indeed a conspiracy. It is called globalism. Today, we have the illusion of free enterprise, the illusion of competition, when owners of industry have created monopolies via shell corporations, corrupt regulations, mergers, and acquisitions, all with quiet assistance from the secret societies behind the scene. As George H.W. Bush stated, A new world is emerging, a new world order.